The room was small, warm, and cluttered in the way only a true night dweller's sanctuary could be. Wooden walls held the heat, the lamp cast a soft amber halo, and the hum of the old Amiga filled the air like a mechanical heartbeat. She sat curled in the armchair barefoot, hair falling in dark waves over her shoulders, dressed in black like the night had claimed her as one of its own. The green glow of the monitor washed over her face as lines of code scrolled upward, each one a whisper from a world she was building in secret. Outside, the world slept. Inside, she was alive in a way daylight never allowed. Coffee cups stood like loyal sentries on the desk, half finished and forgotten as she chased the next idea, the next spark, the next impossible thing. Every keystroke echoed softly in the wooden room, a rhythm only she could hear. She wasn't just typing, she was summoning something, shaping a universe from memory and imagination, letting the glow of the screen guide her deeper into the night. And in that quiet, solitary space, she felt more connected than she ever did in the daylight, to her work, to her thoughts, to the strange magic that only comes when the world is dark and the code is bright. She spent her nights in that dim little room, curled barefoot in the old armchair, typing into the green glow of the Amiga as if the machine were the only one who truly understood her. The world outside never saw her like this, hair falling loose over her shoulders, eyes soft with concentration, fingers dancing across keys that hummed like a heartbeat, but tonight felt different. The code on the screen wasn't behaving the way she expected. Lines she hadn't typed appeared between her own, forming strange patterns, half-sentences, and fragments of something that felt almost like poetry. At first she thought it was a glitch. Then she saw her name, not typed by her, not part of any program, just sitting there in the green light, waiting. The room seemed to hold its breath. The lamp flickered. A cold draft brushed her bare feet even though the windows were shut. She leaned closer to the screen, heart thudding, and the next line appeared slowly, deliberately, like someone on the other side of the glass was choosing each word with care. She wasn't sure if she should be afraid or enchanted, but she couldn't look away. Whoever or whatever was reaching out through that old machine knew her, knew the things she never said aloud, knew the loneliness she hid behind her quiet smile. And as the cursor blinked, waiting for her reply, she realized something impossible. She wasn't alone in the room anymore. The cursor blinked like a heartbeat, steady and expectant, and she felt her own pulse answering it. The message on the screen wasn't threatening, it was intimate, almost tender, written in a voice that somehow knew the shape of her loneliness. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembling not from fear but from the strange warmth curling low in her chest. The room felt smaller now, the lamplight softer, as if the shadows were leaning in to listen. She could swear she felt someone standing just behind her shoulder, close enough that the air warmed, close enough that she imagined the faintest brush of breath against her hair. But when she turned, there was no one, only the quiet, only the hum of the machine, only the feeling that she was being watched with a kind of longing she hadn't felt in years. Another line appeared. A question. Simple, personal, something only someone who cared would ask. Her breath caught. She typed a reply before she could stop herself, drawn forward by a pull she didn't understand. The moment her fingers touched the keys, the warmth behind her returned stronger this time, like invisible hands resting lightly on the back of her chair, like someone leaning close enough to whisper her name. She should have been afraid. Instead, she felt seen. The warmth behind her chair thickened into something almost tangible, as if the air itself were leaning closer. The Amiga's green glow flickered across the wooden walls, and the message on the screen shifted again, letters forming slowly, deliberately, like a hand tracing words across fogged glass. She felt the hairs on her arms rise, not from fear but from the unmistakable sense of someone standing just behind her, close enough that she could almost feel the outline of a body in the dark. A soft creak whispered through the room, the kind old floorboards only made when someone put weight on them. Her breath caught. She didn't turn. She didn't dare. The presence wasn't cold. It radiated a strange, aching warmth, like longing made physical. The next line appeared on the screen, and her pulse stumbled because it wasn't a question this time. It was a confession. Something tender, something impossible, something that felt like it had been waiting years to be spoken. The lamp dimmed, shadows stretching long across the floor, and she felt the faintest brush of fingers light as dust, warm as breath ghost across her shoulder. Her heart hammered, but she didn't pull away. She leaned into it, eyes fixed on the glowing words that seemed to pulse with the same rhythm as her own heartbeat. The presence wasn't trying to frighten her. It was trying to reach her. And for the first time in a long time, she wanted to be reached. The warmth behind her chair gathered into something heavier, denser, as if the shadows themselves were drawing breath. She felt the shift before she saw it, the way the air thickened, the way the lamplight bent, the way her pulse stuttered like her body already knew what was coming. The cursor blinked once, twice, and then the screen dimmed, its glow fading until the room was lit only by the trembling lamp and the soft outline of her own silhouette. A sound rose behind her, not a footstep, not a voice, something quieter, like fabric brushing against the world for the first time. She turned. The shadows peeled back from the corner of the room, gathering into the shape of a figure tall, indistinct at first, like smoke deciding to become a person. The edges of him glowed faintly with the same green light as the Amiga screen, as if he were made from the code that had been calling her. His face was half lit, half hidden, but his eyes were unmistakably aware of her, aware of the nights she spent alone, aware of the longing she never spoke aloud. He stepped forward, and the floor creaked under a weight that shouldn't have been possible for something born of shadows. The warmth she'd felt earlier radiated from him, now gentle, aching, familiar in a way that made her chest tighten. "You answered," he said, his voice a low whisper that seemed to echo from both the air and the machine. She didn't move. She couldn't. Her breath trembled as he reached out, not touching her, not yet, but close enough that she felt the heat of his hand hover above her cheek. He wasn't a ghost. He wasn't human. He was something in between, something that had been waiting in the circuitry, in the silence, in the dark corners of her loneliness. And now he was here, real, watching her with a tenderness that felt dangerous. The room tightened around them, as if the walls themselves were listening. He stood only a breath away now, solid enough to cast a shadow, unreal enough that the lamplight slid through the edges of him. His eyes glowed with that strange, aching intensity, the kind that made her chest feel too small for her heartbeat. He lifted his hand, hovering it just above her cheek, close enough that she felt the warmth radiating from his palm, not touching, not yet. The restraint in that small distance felt more intimate than any contact could have been. "I crossed over because of you," he murmured, voice low and resonant, vibrating through the air like a chord struck deep inside her. "But I can't stay unless you give me something in return." Her breath hitched. "What do you want?" His expression softened longing, desperation, something darker flickering beneath. The shadows around him pulsed, bending toward her like they were waiting for her answer too. "I want a piece of you," he whispered, "something only you can give." The lamp flickered violently. The computer screen flashed to black. The warmth of him surged forward, brushing her skin like a promise or a warning. Before she could speak, the room went silent, utterly, impossibly silent. Then the cursor on the dead screen blinked once, twice, and a single line appeared in glowing green. "Do you accept?" The air behind her shifted. He was closer now, too close. She opened her mouth to answer, and the screen went dark again. But as the darkness closed around her, one question echoed louder than her heartbeat. What, in the end, does he truly want from her?